Former President Barack Obama hitting the campaign trail in battleground Pennsylvania, headlining his first campaign event for Vice President Kamala Harris and making a surprise stop at a Harris campaign field office ahead of the rally, during which he had a very clear and direct message for black men.
Makes me think, I'm speaking to men directly. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for it. The women in our lives have been in our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting.
All right, with us now, CNN senior political commentator, former special assistant to President George W. Bush, Scott Jennings, and also with us, Christine Quinn, the executive committee chair of the New York State Democratic Committee and president of CEO Win. That was a pretty specific, focused message from the former president, Scott.
Yeah, he was kind of insulting them. I mean, he said, if you're not in line with Kamala Harris, it's just because you're a misogynist or you're a bigot and you're making excuses for it. I actually don't think it's all that effective to go and insult groups of people who are soft on your candidate by saying, you know, it's just because of you have these, hateful internal thoughts. That's not why men are not flocking to the Kamala Harris campaign right now. They have policy concerns and they have real concerns with the Democratic Party. I'm not sure this was the right thing to do.
Christine, what do you think?
Well, first of all, Barack Obama is the best motivator, the best speaker the Democratic Party has ever had, maybe any party has ever had. And I think what he did with so few days left was speak frankly and honestly to black men as a black man. And I don't think that's insulting or talking down to them. I think it's engaging in frank conversation, which people appreciate. People want to be spoken to where they are at. And I think coming from him, another black man, is really going to make people take a moment and stop and think, why aren't they supporting Kamala Harris when they are in line with most of, if not all, of her policies?
This speaks to a little bit of the headline in Politico, one of the headlines in the Political Playbook today, which is the headline was, "This is becoming the boy versus girl election." And what Politico is leaning on, Scott, here was focus group expert Sarah Longwell. She's done a lot of work. You don't roll your eyes. She may have opinions. She's also a very good expert on speaking with voters and the opinions of voters. I'm going to tell her that.
Please.
I shall. And they speak to her. And she says it concerns her, but she says that what it comes down to is that she says that what she's hearing is it's a boy versus girls election. She says that it's forget policy. The election is about culture. She contends that the biggest thing separating men and women right now is not policy differences. Rather, men and women are finding themselves at loggerheads over cultural issues. Totally.
I think that's true. She also said, if I read correctly, that men like Donald Trump because he has a hot wife. I mean, that was her expert analysis. Look, this denigration of men, this idea that they can't have policy views, this idea that they can't have concerns about how the Democratic Party has treated them over the years from a policy perspective. To me, it's the continued insulting of men as these knuckle-dragging creatures who somehow, have antiquated views. I just don't think the Democrats know how to talk to them. It's a gender election. I mean, this is a party that thinks gender is a state of mind, and now they're like, wow, I don't know why conservative men don't like Democrats. I mean, are we surprised about this?
Christine, I want you to respond to that, and then I'm going to play some more sound from Barack Obama, but go ahead and respond to Scott first.
This to minimize gender and the effect that the Trump presidency had on women and girls is to not pay attention to reality. I mean, I don't think this is as simple as saying this is a boy versus girl election, but the truth is that a lot of the policies out of the Trump administration particularly hurt women and girls. The biggest one, and a motivating one to voters, is what has happened to Roe versus Wade, what has happened to women who are miscarriaging and having other gynecological problems when they go to the ER, and doctors aren't willing, they're too afraid to treat them, and women have died. So it isn't vilifying men, it's raising to men these real issues that affect the lives of their wives and mothers and daughters. And I think the campaign is correct to remind all voters, but particularly women, about all that we lost and how much more we could possibly lose if Trump is reelected, and to remind men about that and the impact he has had on the women and girls in his life is a smart idea, and I believe will motivate male voters.
Well, look, the Harris campaign clearly thinks there is an issue and a focus they need to be putting on male voters. They have Tim Walz out doing interviews with Michael Strahan on football fields. Tim Walz with his old football team. And then back to the Obama event, Obama was clearly trying, I think, to focus more on black men and men in general when talking about, among other things, diapers. Listen.
You think Donald Trump ever changed the diaper? I almost said that, but I decided I shouldn't say it.
That was a moment, Christine.
Yes. But, what raising the issue of changing diapers needs to remind us about is that in most households, even still in 24, women are the primary caregivers, and they are working. And we are in a country that does not have even close to satisfactory child care or even close to enough leave for men and women after they have a child or after they adopt a child. These are real issues that are forcing women to sometimes leave the workforce to the peril of the family's budget, or forcing them to not move as quickly as they could in their career. This is a real bread and butter issue that Kamala Harris will do something about, that Trump will not. And although it was colorful, I think the diaper message was a good reminder that put things in sharp reality.
Scott?
The high-minded elevator of civil discourse in our country, Barack Obama.
Oh, geez, don't even start.
Has gone from making penis jokes at the Democrat National Convention to making adult diaper jokes here.
He didn't make the joke. He did not, in fact, make the adult diaper joke. He responded to
he referenced it on the stage. I mean, come on. It's like he always wants to have it both ways. I'm here to elevate the discourse. And, oh, by the way, let's joke about genitalia and diapers. I mean, come on, guys. Honestly.
I'm sorry. I just don't think anyone associated or affiliated, or whatever the right way to say it is, with the Trump campaign can raise issues of civil discourse, because in the world of who hasn't engaged in civil discourse in elections, Donald Trump is at the top of the heap.
Christine Quinn, Scott Jennings, thank you both so much for this elevated discourse.
That's what we do. That's what we do. This morning, officials in Florida are urging people to be on guard against financial predators and scams in the wake of deadly Hurricane Milton. Hundreds of homes were destroyed in the state in the storm from the floodwaters and extreme winds. And in places like Fort Pierce, tornadoes ripped through the city. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez has much more on the recovery efforts there.
Kate, yesterday was that full day people had to come out and begin to survey some of that damage. This morning, we're seeing still that devastation here in this neighborhood where I am in Fort Pierce. This semi completely toppled over on its side. Up here you can see its front wheel approaching now its front bumper, and on the other side of this main road in this community is another semi. Its trailer has been completely smashed. We were able to drive around this area for the last 24 hours to inspect all the damage left behind. County officials here say that well over 100 homes were damaged, and when we were driving around, we could see fences of homes that were down, power lines down, oak trees just snapped in half. Residents were beginning to clean up a little bit of that damage, at least to clear those roads so that their cars could get